so definitely locked for day number 2, and on the verge of almost securing themselves a pretty top spot in the event, getting in that money in a big way.
Yeah, you still got a number of rounds that you're going to have to win in this one. But, you know, I digress. The players' records are very impressive at this point, and I think that this is going to be a pretty contrasting style that we're on. You know, I've been watching Dog for a number of years, and he tends to get pretty aggressive in the right scenarios when it calls for it. So we'll have to see how that stacks up against Kamaretai. The matchup on paper, again, I think is Dog favored, just given the amount of top end that's in here and the ability to fight back against particular types of big built situations, thinking specifically of aggression with Sorcerer's Apprentice versus the Doomsayers from Dog's deck, and from Mountain Giant counterplay.
Yeah. Both players have double Frostbolt in their primary decks as well, which is interesting to note because it's not a automatic inclusion in pretty much any mage deck these days. Cyclone Mage, you look and they're playing a lot of cheap spells, and Frostbolt just kind of gets cut. And having a direct answer to those threats on turn 2 that you really want to get rid of, like Sorcerer's Apprentice, kind of changes the way the matchup works because you're not as willing to just throw at a Sorcerer's Apprentice on turn 2. It's going to stick unless a Ray of Frost comes out, and trying to snowball the game from there. Yeah,
that to me is one of the biggest talking points of Dog's deck, is that there actually is no Sorcerer's Apprentice or Mana Cyclone in the list. It's a very different mage list altogether. Like, it's taken such a drastic turn from what we've accepted as the norm. And so for Kamaretai, I do think that this is the right idea, where you want to apply a lot of pressure and then get punishing for it. You know, the Magic Dart Frog here, this was a very quick turn. You are interested in, you know, keeping Acolyte's draws contained to 2 instead of 3. But that was about the quickest Dart Frog I've ever seen. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, when it's shiny and it draws a card, that makes it a lot more enticing.
Yeah, I mean, he had me a shiny.
Ooh, Cinderstorm. Mirror Image could be good as well, because you could use that to protect some key minions down the line.
I'd say traditionally, Mirror Image is probably the consideration that's most on your mind. I think in this matchup, though, Kamaretai is definitely the aggressor, and I think Cinderstorm has much more merit than it typically would in a traditional Mage Mirror match.
I made the kind of a bold claim earlier. I said that Dog's Mage deck seems like it's like the future of Mage. Yeah. It seems, I was trying to find bad matchups for it, and the only one I really settled on was like the aggro Overload Shaman or potentially Mid-Range Hunter. But it feels like it has checks for everything.
The glisten in TJ's eye when he told me this was childlike excitement.
I like to see this kind of innovation in a big field like this. Players have kind of been sitting on their laurels with the Cyclone Mage deck. I feel like Cyclone Mage is not a card you can rely on. I feel like a lot of players go all in with Cyclone Mage with Mana Cyclone, get a bunch of duds, and then say, well, sometimes it just doesn't work out. And Dog's deck doesn't rely on that. It's got good stuff to fight the early game with. It's not going to get blown out. It still has the Mountain Giant Conjurer's Calling package. It's got greed in the late game. Seems good.
I think this turn right here is probably my prime example of how this matchup is interpreted on paper, where Dog knows that he's behind. He's now seen a second Magic Dart Frog, which is a nightmare. He had a chance to take out that Luna and didn't. He favored card in hand and options more than trying to eliminate this board pressure. And it might have snowballed a bit out of control. I'll tell you what, leaving that Luna up was awfully risky.
Yeah.
And I think Dog might pay the iron price for this one.
It makes this Rabble Bouncer cheaper, and Kamaretai currently doesn't have a fantastic way to fight through it, but he's got 2 Magic Dart Frogs on board, which means that even a Frostbolt almost deals with it in its entirety. Yeah. So traditionally, yes, a Frostbolt wouldn't dent a Rabble Bouncer, but when you factor in 2 Magic Dart Frogs and a Sorcerer's Apprentice on board, you could just chain through spells, keep drawing cards with Stargazer Luna, and kill whatever Dog plays.
Yeah, by the way, none of those cards really cost Kamaretai anything. There was a Stargazer Luna in play.
Yeah, just refilled. And even though Magic Dart Frog is kind of put in a lot of players' lists as an anti-aggro card, in these control matchups, it just gives you so much gas.
Well, hang on a second here. Kamaretai, we need to think about this.
So if you Frostbolt and Ray of Frost once.
Sorcerer's Apprentice. There's a lot of options here that are strong. And so I'm guessing he spotted something that works in this vein.
So Frostbolt plus double banana Ray of Frost is 6 damage.
Yeah, double Ray of Frost on its own is 1, 2, 3, 6 damage.
Is 6 damage, and then you could throw 1 banana on top of that.
And that clears.
And that clears the Mountain Giant.
So correct ordering, draw first. See what you play. This giant's dead. Yeah, Dart Frogs are good.
Yeah, a dog like needs a blizzard. Like, that's it. And even then, what does it do?
You probably need a pair of blizzards.
A pair of blizzards.
This is not a good spot.
No.
How different would this game have been if Dog had just Frostbolt that Luna? Don't know.
I don't know.
Be a lot less cards on Kamaretai's side. Whether those cards, be in hand or be in play, I don't know. But something would be less.
So Ziliax is some stall, but unfortunately, like it feels like the damage is already done. These Magic Dart Frogs, when they're in pairs, it's like Kamaretai is going to operate on the game plan that he always would have operated on. It just has the added benefit of also killing whatever Dog plays.
That sounds to me like Dog he's done in this game anyway. I seriously don't understand how he's supposed to recover from this spot. The Dart Frogs just actually ran away with the game.
Rabble Balancer and a Conjurer's Calling get 2 Baron Geddons.
Well, we're missing one of those things, which is Conjurer's Calling, and then we're missing 2 of those things, which is Baron Geddons.
You Frost Nova Doomsayer and hope that Kamaretai has 0 spells in his hand.
Well, we're missing the Frost Nova.
Double Doomsayer, double Ray of Frost, and hope that Kamaretai has no cards in his hand.
You know that button from the Toki hero run where you could press it and redo the turn? I think we need that to kill that Luna. I don't know about that Arcane Intellect on turn 3. That's my problem with this game. And I think from here, it's gotten out of control. There's, to me, very little analysis I can provide afterwards. I would love to hear Dog's thoughts as to why he did not kill that Luna.
Tools of creation.
Sure, play a Khadgar. 2/2 that draws a card. I'll take it.
I don't know, TJ. It costs 2 mana.
Stargazer Luna, I think, has drawn 8 cards.
It's ridiculous. There's a reason that it's coined out. You kill this card. He set it up with the ping. He couldn't kill it on the first turn. I understand. Second one, though, just didn't follow. So now, TJ World is open.
He's got a Conjurer's Calling, a Mountain Giant, and then Kamaretai, Cinderstorms, Frostbolt's Face, Banana something, and pretty much everything's dead.
Yeah, I was on board with the Baron Geddon pair. Just super dead.
Just start chucking spells. Deal 5 damage randomly split among all enemies, and then deal 2 damage to minions.
Magic Dart Frog is like better spell damage. Just hits minions every time.
Yeah.
Neither giant lives.
And he can kill the other one with relative ease.
Well, this could split up poorly. You know what, Dart Frog? You've done a good job. Have a good rest. It's a blowout. I say that looking up at Dog's hand, not with the fullest of confidence. The one thing to always consider is the lack of reach that Mage has.
Power of Creation can be reach.
But not always.
We saw it earlier.
It's true. But there's still a chance.
Was it Dog, too, that did it? Yeah, it was Dog. He in his tertiary list, he doesn't play Power of Creation, but he does play an Arcane Dynamo.
Arcane Dynamo.
Yeah, because it's like dynamic, but without the ick and with the O.
Yeah, not Dynamo.
No. I disagree. I don't think that's how English works.
The end is coming! The end is coming!
Well, sometimes you push through Rabble Bouncer.
Do you, though?
Well, if your Conjurer's Calling it.
You Conjurer's Calling it, but there's still taunts at 7 mana.
There are. That's why I said sometimes.
Yeah, and Dog has Alexstrasza. So if Kamaretai uses Conjurer's Calling, gives up his board in order to push Dog low, then he just Alexstrasza's back up, has board, has 15 health.
Wow.
And it's so much more because his Conjurer's Calling.
Operations are flawless.
Or because his Khadgar.
I don't think I've ever quite seen something like this. So Dog, I do think actually is in a very reasonable spot now.
With Alexstrasza, yes.
It's not because of, I mean, this whole board's going away, but it's the Alexstrasza. You get an 8/8 and you get board recovery from it.
Runs out on me.
So, you know, that's really the kicker I failed to keep intact was my head flashed back to old mages that they do this and then they kill you with frostbolts and fireballs. That's not happening to Dog this game. Maybe, you know, maybe the fireball part, I don't know. But he's going to be back up to 15 on this turn. Unless for some reason he really believes there's a better play.
Now, Kamaretai does have just gas for days, has 3-mana Mountain Giant plus Conjurer's Calling in hand.
That's
and
a
double
Caligo
power
speed up.
creation.
Caligo's right into 10 mana, though, with initiative. It's possible.
It's possible, but it just doesn't feel likely. I don't know.
So the 2 draws I'm looking at for Dog right now, 2 Frost Novas, 2 Blizzards.
Yep.
All of those will keep his board safe, unless there's just, you know, burst damage out of the power creations.
Yep.
You know, you can't do nothing about that.
Yep.
I think that in this position, if Dog draws 1 or 2 key cards in a row, he could very easily win this game. Safeguard, certainly a strong defensive option for Kamaretai, though.
Yep.
Second Frost Nova of his own.
Yep. Second Frost Nova.
So Dog didn't draw Blizzard or anything this turn, but you still have a Discovery from Kaligos. And if the Kaligos sticks, which it very likely will, in that position, Dog is the follow-up of Archmage Antonidas with a fresh draw as well. So this could still be some really big turns from Dog coming up.
Kamaretai, he hasn't played Ziliax, I believe. I think the Ziliax was played from Dog's side. He's got it in his primary deck, so it can magnetize on the Safeguard or even the 0/5 Taunt that comes out from Safeguard. Now, the 0/5 Taunt, the only thing that it matters for is you take 3 damage to face, and I think Dog has to be worried about protecting his life total here, but he also has to kind of take risks. He has to say, I need to make a big play now to try and get myself back in the game. Mulch Muncher is in the 9-mana pool now.
That's an excellent point. So is King
As is
Crush.
King Crush.
Oh.
Time runs out on me.
We haven't even discussed that Arcane Keysmith 50% of the time offers you a defensive measure.
These are all... Spellbender's good for Conjurer's Calling. You know there's one in the hand. Mirror Entity's good because your opponent hasn't played a Mountain Giant yet. And Iceberg is good because it's health gain. So many things to consider.
All right, the freeze battle begins. Dream card's coming.
Nightmare, okay. All right.
Free damage. Also, Kamaretai's down to 6 cards in deck.
Yeah, that's what happens when you draw, 10 cards?
Well, he does not have.
Stargazer Luna?
He doesn't have Archmage Antonidas in the main deck. Like all of his damage reach is minions and 2 Frostbolts and then random outcomes.
Yeah. I think Dog picks Spellbender.
I think Dog might be ahead. This is weird.
This is very weird. Still needs those freeze cards, but has 4 left in the deck. With 13 cards remaining.
I feel like I say this all the time with Mage. I apologize. I very underestimated the power that Dog could leverage getting into 9 mana with a clear board.
Well, the Alexstrasza changed everything.
Yeah.
The Alexstrasza on 9, because Kamaretai got Fireball for Mana Cycle, he would have ended the game. With no Ziliax and with Ziliax played and no Alexstrasza, Dog would have died. Spellbender.
It's a frozen board, though. Dog needs a big draw, and that is exactly that. 4 freezes, board-wide freezes, naturally in Dog's deck. The first one he picks up at card 15, 16, 17 now? 18? 18 cards into the deck finds the first board-wide freeze.
So the question here, though, is do you fill up your board and play Kaligos to play the free Blizzard, or do you keep a board space open and just play Blizzard? Because Kaligos, you get to discover, then you still get the effect of the first spell you play.
Yeah.
You play Blizzard on top of it.
I want the Kaligos in play.
All right. Kaligos, very expensive, obviously.
You get a free spell, too.
Yeah, but is there any merit to keeping a board space open if you need, like, Archmage Antonidas?
So, yes and no. The way that I'm seeing it is you could expend the Nightmare to get something done. But you also have hero power just on your Dust Devil if you really, really desperately need it.
Okay, that's true. I'm sold on Caligos.
Runs out on me.
Well,
Blast Wave?
I guess. Helps you clear out board space if you really, really need it. I think we might be seeing a comeback. I think that Kamaretai is going to need some fortune. There's multiple ways to get it here.
Reckless Rocketeer.
Ooh, that card makes me nervous. It really does. Because any of the 6 drops that have charge, which is basically just Reckless Rocketeer.
And Argent Commander.
Yeah, like those end the game on the spot.
Essentially. Argent Commander would put Dog down to 7, which would set up for Fireball Ping.
Now, how much about the counter push here, actually? Because the reason that Kamaretai...
Wait, hold on. How much damage is this?
This is a lot of damage. Oh, but the Wind Fury on the Dust Devil!
So Wind Fury on the Dust Devil, you can Blast Wave away the taunts. There's so much going on here.
Blast Wave taunts.
He can even double Ray of Frost to push additional damage through.
So you get that first point of clear there. These minions are going to die to the Blast Wave. You push them through.
That's
Blast
lethal.
Wave gets through. That's 12 plus 16 on the Dust Devil plus 4 from the Caligos. Oh my goodness.
Wow. That's way over lethal. Extra damage to spare. Dog finds a comeback victory there. I thought he was done. Takes game 1 over Kamaretai.
From Dog's standpoint, I cannot believe he's done this. How did he win? I still am like shocked by it. Like there was a Luna in play for like it drew like 700 cards. Just stunned.
Yeah, a crazy game, and Dog is sticking with his primary list because he has that super greedy primary list with the quadruple freeze.
Yeah, very much a target of Mage and Warrior. I feel like is in this list.
And Kamaretai going to be switching to his secondary deck. He's removed the Frostbolts from that early game package. Has added 2 Sea Giants, and the other moves he's removed Water Elemental and put in 2 Blizzards. So kind of an interesting take.
Yeah, I'm a little bit unsure about this Sorcerer's Apprentice. And normally I'm okay with it in the Mage matchups. The one thing that there is to consider is exactly Doomsayer and how it interacts with Sorcerer's Apprentice. Your whole turn is now just a turn 3 Arcane Intellect, except you're down a Sorcerer's Apprentice. And if you saw what happened last game with Magic Dart Frogs and the Mana Cyclones kind of being stranded for a Kamaretai, I think it's a vital tool against this deck. Dog is not trying to fight back with traditional style pressure. He's trying to just simply have some board containment and then take advantage of the fact that he's scaling harder in the late stage.
Yeah. Dog has 6 different cards, 6 cards, period, in his deck that deal with the turn 2 Sorcerer's Apprentice. It's Ray of Frost, 2 copies. Doomsayer, 2 copies. Frostbolt, 2 copies.
Yeah, I think if you see the Ray of Frost or the Frostbolt, you're a lot happier about it because you get to play a minion and keep that aggression rolling. When you see Doomsayer, that's the worst because Dog gets initiative.
Yeah.
So I was wrong about the Luna. Dog didn't kill Luna. Everything panned out somehow magically. For Kamaretai, I have a very, similar opinion on this. I think that he doesn't really have the liberty of doing anything differently other than just having not played his Sorcerer's Apprentice, though, which, that's arguably incorrect to begin with, not playing it. So, it's tough to say. Long story short, these are very hard games of Hearthstone right now.
Yeah. Mage already is one of the most difficult decks to play in the metagame. Honestly, the pure Mana Cyclone Mage is one of the most difficult decks I've ever played.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Patron Warrior's up there. There's just a lot of math.
You know what? I'm hitting you with a hot take here. I think Cyclone Mage is harder than Patron Warrior was.
I think I agree. Patron Warrior was just being able to do math quickly on the fly. Mana Cyclone Mage is operating with turns that you've never seen before.
That to me is what makes it harder, is that a different pan of outcomes will just, wildly... It's a game you've never played before. With Patron Warrior, you get into some complicated spots, no doubt about it. It was hard, and min-maxing on that deck was paramount to its win rate, and a little bit of min-maxing went a very long way once you hit a certain point in that deck.
Yeah.
I just think in terms of understanding what you're actually doing, I knew what I was doing with Patron Warrior. I was dealing a bunch of damage with charge stuff. With this Cyclone Mage deck, I look at my hand and I go, I legitimately don't know how I'm supposed to win this game. And the answer is a Mana Cyclone somehow. A lot of mage spells and a lot of redundancy. I don't want to figure it out. It's hard.
Amen, brother.
I long for simpler times like Patron Lawyer.
I long for simple times like mid-range druid. Oof. Play a 4/5.
TJ, you can't talk to me this way. I'm getting married next week. I'm flattered, but my answer is no.
Nathan, you want to go jam some mid-range druid for a week and a half?
That does sound like a jolly old time, though. I mean,
It does.
I'll tell you what else does. 9 drops. Bulldozer.
Bulldozer.
The sleeper of the set. It's dozing off.
And it looks like this has to be a Mana Cyclone turn from Kamaretai. His hand says, yeah, you can't do anything else. You can Blizzard and try and buy some time, but if Dog has a single Conjurer's Calling, you're dead.
Well, I will say that Blizzard Magic Dart Frog is a very powerful set of tools.
Yep.
I honestly, like, when Kalento played this version, like this style in week number 1 at Grandmasters, I was kind of like, oh, that's cute. You're beating up aggro decks. And then the more I saw it, I was like, wow, that card's just, like, weirdly, strongly synergistic with this deck. It just does everything this deck wants to do.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a long road ahead right now for Dog to secure a victory in this spot, and similarly for Kamaretai to stabilize that board position. And so the way I look at it, one of the players would be winning if things panned out ideally. The other one would be bringing it back to a strong position. So I think favor Dog.
Well, Kamaretai does set up a secret, of obviously randomly generated from the Mana Cyclone. So Dog's going to hesitate here when it comes to secret. And I think the biggest worry he has is Spellbender, which means the Ray of Frost pickup is exceptional because this opens him up to be able to Conjurer's Calling freely now that he's tested for both Counterspell and Spellbender.
Oh, yeah.
Get some 9-drops. Give me some Mulch Munchers, some King Crushes.
Oh, how about a Nozdormu?
How about 2 Nozdormus?
What in the heck? Kamaretai has 15 seconds to do this.
Time runs out on me.
Looks good to me. Oh my gosh, the Dart Frog animations with Nozdormu, that's...
You can still play your cards. It's just the animations that have to play out. But I think that like bleeds
seeing
into
an
Dog's
outcome can change things, right?
And now Dog has to think quick too.
Well, that's what he normally does. This is his environment.
I think if there's multiple Nozdormus on the board, they should just add on to their effect.
Just keeps reducing it.
Keeps reducing it. You have 4 Nozdormus on board. Your opponent has 4 seconds to make their turn.
This is actual craziness.
One of the admins for the event was like, we're going over time. You guys need to play round 7 fast.
Oh, Hakar.
Hakar the Soul
You're
Flare.
going to have no time to do Hakar math. Yeah, go ahead and think about that one while you're playing your turns
Big
quick.
Bad Archmage Caligos. What is happening? I don't even have time to think.
That's perfect territory for us.
I mean, Dog has Blizzard. He's got double Frost Nova. But he's got to think. What, do they just keep freezing the boards back and forth?
You're used
and
to
having
being
15 seconds?
You're used to being able to identify who has the edge in this circumstance. You don't have time to think about that anymore.
You just play your stuff. This is a mirror entity, by the way. Does he have time to attack with Alec here?
Calculations are flawless.
Looks like he got him in.
Look at Dog's face just for a moment. He just took a deep sigh, and he's trying his hardest to focus in on what's happening here.
Runs out on me.
Even Caligos makes this weird because your first spell is free.
They're just slinging freezes back and forth. This is almost certainly not ideal, but they don't have time to figure that out. This is wonderful.
You kill Alec here? I mean, sure.
Kinda. Board's full.
Time runs out on me.
Check the secret. That's the goal.
Was it mirror entity again?
It happened so fast, TJ.
Geppetto Joybuzz, Ironbark Protector. I'm just saying minions.
This honestly, the way I'm looking at it now, it might go in favor of Dog because Kamaretai is using the last freeze. So it depends on how much this clears off in totality. The smile, of course, I don't blame him. Because he has the last say in this with the Blizzard. So Kamaretai is forced to sweep some of this off board and then take an action afterwards. The value battle is, I think, clearly won by Kamaretai, but I don't know if the tempo battle necessarily is. Malagos, Blizzard, 7 damage.
He got a Undasta as well.
He has a Ray of Frost. The Undasta doesn't summon a beast because there's nothing to summon.
That's a board clear.
That is insane.
What just happened?
The 9-drop Conjurer's Calling ended the game. And it's over.
That's it. I feel like this is just how Hearthstone should be played.
What on earth?
What if players just had 15 seconds forever to make their turns?
What did we just... Well, then that would just... You'd have to Dust Refund Dodge Storm use at that point.
How insane would that be?